the most important relationship in your life, bar none, is the relationship that you have with yourself. The reason is you have to be with yourself 24/7, decade after decade after decade. And if you don't have a good, loving, empowered relationship with yourself, and you have a bit of a funky relationship with yourself in not a good way, it's very painful, because wherever you go, there you are. Here I am, me, myself, and I, with negative beliefs about myself. Often there can be, painful thoughts, sometimes loathing thoughts, sometimes quite toxic thoughts toward ourselves, things we would never think or say to another person about them, but we would tolerate ourselves having our mind run those thoughts about ourselves. And all of this leads us to not feel good inside, feel good about ourselves. It affects our emotional state. And, if you don't feel good about yourself, I'll say that as an adult, number one, it's not your fault that you have an unhealthy relationship with yourself, because the majority of the time this is due to conditioning when you're growing up. Before you're old enough to know what's happening and to choose for yourself, conditioning sets in. That sets the foundation for the mental construct you have of yourself, who you think you are, what you think you're worth, and the feelings you have towards yourself. And it can happen due to influence from other people. It can happen because of events and exposure to things. And also it can just happen because if our mind isn't lovingly led and taught how to have a healthy relationship with ourselves, then it fills in the gap in the absence of quality leadership, and it will just make up its mind about who we are. And we start to formulate this psycho-emotional relationship with ourselves inside, and then that sets a trajectory for our self-relationship for the rest of our lives until we wake up. Until inside the dream of life we gain consciousness of ourselves. We begin to realize that we have beliefs, thoughts, and feelings that do not work, that do not feel good, and we have a huge opportunity to completely sea change our self-relationship, to pivot and go on a new trajectory, to learn how to heal our minds and our emotional systems, to have a new blossoming, amazing, empowered, and inspiring relationship with ourselves that completely shifts our experience of life. And by the way, life is not happening out there and then we react to it. Life is happening in here, inside ourselves, in our beliefs, thoughts, and feelings, and our energy field, and ripples out into every area of our life. So feeling better about yourself is going to affect how you feel. It's going to affect how you think. It's going to affect how you communicate, the choices you make, the actions you take, the results you get. It's going to affect your relationships, your career, your money situation, your lifestyle. Everything is affected by how you feel about yourself. You're listening to Practical Spirituality with B, the podcast with spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic. I'm Bernadette Logue. You can call me B, and I'm excited to share this episode with you. So we're going to dive in and we're going to do a bit of a rapid fire series of core things that are really important if you want to feel better about yourself. I'm going to give you some things to stop doing and some things to start doing. And then at the end, I'm going to talk to you about simple tools that you can access that will help you to implement these steps. So without further ado, let's dive in. The first thing is you have to learn how to stop chastising yourself and criticizing yourself. All you need to do for this step is bring awareness to the fact that it's happening and notice when it's happening so you can interrupt it. You can say stop to yourself. You can say no to the thought, and you can begin to redirect your thoughts into other better feeling thoughts. Okay? Really, really simple. The more you practice self-awareness and awareness of the quality of thoughts going on inside your mind, and you refuse to tolerate them anymore, you refuse to buy into the negative story of self-criticism, self-loathing, self-hate, low self-worth, low self-confidence, blaming yourself, shaming yourself, judging yourself. The more you interrupt it, it stops energy firing down those neural pathways, and you get an opportunity to redirect your mind in a new way to thoughts and feelings that better serve you and are more representative of what you deserve. Okay? The second step is stop measuring yourself against something you are not. Stop measuring yourself against magazines. Stop measuring yourself against social media. Stop measuring yourself against people on TV. Stop measuring yourself against your neighbors and your peers and your friends and your family. Stop. You were born as a creation of creation. You are a perfectly divinely made creature with your quirks and your gifts and your talents and your weirdness and your weaknesses and your strengths and all of it, warts and all, ups and downs, highs and lows, all of it. You are divinely perfect, made just as you are for very good reason. When you begin to compare yourself to other people who are taller, shorter, smarter, can sing better than you, can do whatever better than you, can have a life that's different than you, that every single time you compare yourself, it's like slapping divinity in the face to say, you made me wrong. And if you are on the spiritual path and you are here with me, I know one thing about you, and that is you have a level of love for spirit, spirituality, your soul, like living your life in alignment with your soul. You want to be feeling the oneness, the connection to divinity, higher consciousness, and it loves you and it wants you to listen up to this. Love yourself like Source loves you. And to do that, this step is important. You've got to stop criticizing. You've got to stop measuring yourself and comparing yourself to other people, okay? So that means bring self-awareness. Notice when it's happening. When it is happening, you say to yourself, stop. You say to yourself, no, no to this thought, no to this comparison. And you have an opportunity in that moment to redirect your mind to a better feeling thought, a thought that will uplift you about yourself. And we'll talk about how to do that in a moment. Okay. Third step is this. Name the core limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, and with diligence, go about shifting those beliefs, okay? There are ways to do it. It's not that hard. It requires awareness, free will to do the stuff that needs to be done, and it requires consistency and repetition, because that is how your mind learns, okay? Your mind has ingrained beliefs, most likely picked up very early on in life. If you don't feel good about yourself, those beliefs will usually be things like this. I am not good enough. I am not worthy. I am not complete. Okay? And what we want to do is name what they are so that we can create a trajectory shift. The way you resolve a limiting belief is you can't stop believing it. You have to replace it with something that is better for you. I'm going to tell you in a little bit about tools and ways I help people to do that. But first of all, understand what those beliefs are. You want to constantly look at your thoughts and say, why am I thinking this thought? What do I really believe about myself? What do I believe about myself that I'm even too embarrassed or pained to admit? Because when you are willing to look at the cold, hard truth, you find the root of the issue, and you have an opportunity to pull that root out at the base and replace it with something that is nourishing. It's like weeding the garden. Pull the weeds and plant some beautiful new seeds. Number 4 is start praising yourself for all the things that are right about you. We are wired as human beings to look for risk and danger and what's wrong, and it's a bit of a primitive thing, but you can train yourself to look for what is right about you. If you don't feel great about yourself, the likelihood is your awareness is being trained on hyper focus and vigilance around what is not good about you, what is ugly about you, what is not enough about you, what is not worthy about you. Anything and anything anyone has ever told you about yourself that was negative. And then you build on that and it becomes like a pair of glasses you look through. So that is now all you can see. What you want to do is practice putting on a pair of glasses, metaphorically speaking, that only see what is good and right about you. And that doesn't mean you're not aware of your faults and areas for development. But if you don't feel good about yourself, we don't need to go there. We need to lean heavily, heavily, heavily into self-praise. Okay? I love myself. I like myself. I accept myself. I love this about myself. I love my quirky sense of humor. I love that I'm great at techie stuff. I love that I'm good at video games. I love that I'm good at planting seeds and growing a garden. I love that I'm kind. I love that I'm compassionate. I love that I'm thoughtful. I love that I'm sensitive. I love that I'm into movies. I love that I'm into Mother Nature. Whatever it is, you find anything and everything you can possibly think of to praise about yourself, to be in appreciation about yourself, and to lean into those things so that you fill yourself up with what you most likely have not been giving yourself for decades and what you maybe didn't get when you were growing up, which caused you to feel empty of good feelings about yourself in the first place. And we're now counteracting it, okay? Step 5 is feed your mind with deeply nourishing material. Social media, the news, negativity, your own negative thoughts, and other people's negativity is toxic stuff for your mind to absorb. And you're walking around in a world where you're seeing and hearing stuff all the time and you're absorbing it into your being, okay? So you have to get conscious. If you want to be feeling great about yourself and feeling great about life, you have to take ownership of being the guardian of your mind and protect the precious real estate between your two ears, which means your job is on a daily basis to fill your mind with really nourishing, high-quality messaging all the time, okay? That means positive messages about yourself, positive messages about life. Now, you can do that using audios, positive affirmation audios. You can use mine. You can use ones that are on YouTube. There are plentiful. You say it to yourself. You put visual reminders everywhere so you can see it, and you listen to audio so you can hear it. What you hear, see, and say to yourself on a consistent and repetitive basis becomes the quality of your mindset. And your mindset is driving how you feel. So if you don't feel good about yourself, it's because your mind is filled with negative stuff about yourself. And the mental and emotional cycle is looping. So we interrupt the thought patterns and we ingrain powerful new messaging. And that starts to get a whole new thought, feeling cycle going, a new relationship with yourself where you see yourself differently. Okay. The next step is this, and all these steps are really important, so they don't necessarily have to go in this order, but they kind of need to all happen. The 6th step is this. You have to release the emotional glue around all the negative beliefs and thoughts. So if you're walking around with, I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy, chances are you have what I call emotional glue around that, which is probably feelings like shame. There could be feelings of guilt. There could be feelings of, low self-worth is a feeling. So when those feelings are in your energy field and they are not released, then anytime something happens in your life outside of you that triggers your limiting beliefs about yourself, those feelings will come up. Okay? Or if you have a negative thought about yourself, the feelings will come up. And that's because negative beliefs and negative thoughts generate painful feelings. And if we don't release them, the two just feed each other. Our thoughts and beliefs drive more feelings. We feel bad and it drives and feeds more negative believing and thinking. But the other thing is that where did your beliefs come from in the first place? And the answer is painful experiences, where someone did something or didn't do something, something happened to you, or you made up your mind something negative about yourself. And in that moment, that pivot of your mind to the belief that you weren't good enough or you weren't worthy was painful, meaning emotionally painful, meaning there was a pain of feeling not good enough, not worthy, shame, guilt, whatever it is. And the feeling goes with the neural pathway. The feeling goes with the belief and thought. So when we're retraining our mind to something different and we want to feel better about ourselves, it's not just a psychological process and it's not just an emotional process. Psychological and emotional go together. Okay, they feed each other. And so we need to be able to honor and release and address both parts. Okay. And then 7, final step, is to set a new vision in your mind of yourself and your life that honors you and uplifts you and empowers you. A mental construct, a vision, a visual of who you really are at your core before the world taught you who to be, before you made up your mind that you were something less than. You create a new vision of yourself and your life that is beautiful, that is whole, complete, good enough, worthy, deserving, and you let the vision in your mind, using your psychology, you let the vision in your mind help you to generate beautiful new feelings and feed this new relationship that you have with yourself. So, as promised, I'll give you some tips around tools that I have and ways I can support you to implement all of this to create a whole new self-relationship where you feel great about yourself, and therefore that ripples into all the areas of your life, right? Feel great about yourself, you're far more confident, way better in relationships, way better in creating money and opportunity, way more successful in your career and business. Number 1 is, at the time of releasing this, I think I have 2 or 3 spaces still available for my March one-on-one coaching package. If you are interested in me working with you one-on-one in private Zoom calls every week with unlimited email coaching support throughout the whole month of March, where I will help you implement this entire process, you want to email me for all the details. So email support@bernadettelogue.com. And in the subject line, all I want you to do is put confidence. Okay, just write confidence in the subject line, and I'll know you're inquiring about this coaching off this podcast and that we're going to focus on this. I will reply back with all the details, pricing, availability, what you can expect, all the details, so you can make an informed decision. The second way I can help you is come and join the Soul Odyssey program. If you're on a spiritual path or you're spiritually oriented, that program is epically in depth with everything that you need to identify your beliefs, shift your beliefs, go through emotional healing, return to the spiritual truth of who you are, see yourself and love yourself like Source loves you. Everything from A to Z. It's very powerful. It comes with group, monthly, live coaching on Zoom with me. Comes with 24/7 access to our Q&A discussion forums for an entire year. You get lifetime access to the program, and you get 12 months of this beautiful live Q&A support. So to find out about that, go to bernadettelogue.com, www.bernadettelogue.com, and click on program on the menu. You can get yourself enrolled and dive straight in, and I'll see you there. It has been an absolute pleasure to share this episode with you, and I am excited to see you again next week. Thanks for listening to Practical Spirituality with B. I'll talk to you next episode for more spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic.